Something that I read up was something that psychologists refer to as locus of control. Do you know what that means? It is when you blame yourself for things that happen to you or your circumstances, the outside world. Was it a lack of skill or a lack of luck that shackled you to this awful grade or job interview or a date with someone or not making new friends or this unfairly video game that you have played? Well, in the Souls games, luck indeed doesn't exist. After you beat a Souls game, try and create a new character and go kill some bosses again. You will realize that it wasn't your character that got stronger, you did. Low efficacy can actually lead to depression and anxiety and even to low social bonding. This is where the Souls games comes in play and stands out from all other games that you have ever played before. You can name it. The Souls games builds up your self-efficacy and leads to high efficacy that can actually improve on your outlook in life. When I was younger, around grade 1, my mother used to take me for swimming lessons every day during school hours on site, and I was extremely afraid to water. I was so stressed out and scared out of my mind to swim every single day. However, when the days went by and I was more and more in the water itself, I became comfortable with that fear. The more I swim, the better I get, and the better I get, the more comfortable I become with the water around me. The more you die in a Souls game, the better you get. Not your character, not your weapon, not your upgrades, you get better. You get comfortable by failing and trying again. The Soul series made me regret for overlooking the FromSoftware games. It really did. Bloodborne was my very first FromSoft game, and after that, everything became history for me. Playing the Soul series was an experience, but also something more. The pinnacle inspiration of the phenomenal greatness of Elden Ring, the father of Elden Ring. Can you remember when Miyazaki teased the upcoming Elden Ring trailer and fans greatly thought it's going to be a Dark Souls 4 or a game that is yet again set in the same universe of the Dark Souls series, another fine and perfectly crafted sequel to the Souls series? Dark Souls 3, apart from its predecessors, is not actually a sequel. Well, it didn't felt like it, but a brilliant standalone game from the universe of the Dark Souls series. FromSoft games are designed around the studious and intrepid and require that the player isn't afraid to fail. In fact, they exist is a direct contradiction to our problems. They're dense, deeply engaging, and force the player to delay their gratification. At its core, Dark Souls 3 builds upon the action RPG mechanics established by its predecessors while incorporating innovations that enhance the player experience. The game's combat system is a defining feature, offering a delicate balance between speed, strategy, and precision, borrowing from Bloodborne's faster paced combat. Dark Souls 3 escalates its tempo without sacrificing the deliberate, mythical approach that fans of the series adore. The inclusion of weapon arts adds another layer of strategy, allowing players to utilize unique abilities to tie to specific weapons. However, it's the game's difficulty that cements its identity. Challenging enemies, integrate level design, and pushing boss fights test the player's patience and skills. The game's design philosophy, challenge breeds mastery, encourages players to learn from failure and develop perseverance. Encounters such as the Abyss Watchers and the Nameless King remain iconic due to their demanding mechanics and thematic resonance. This balance of difficulty and reward foster a sense of achievement unmatched in many other games outside of From Software games. The combat in Dark Souls 3 represents the pinnacle of From Software's action RPG mechanics. Although I truly think, and this might be a controversial outlook on myself, but I truly think that Sekiro still has the best combat system that I have experienced in any From Software game. But in Dark Souls 3, while retaining the deliberate pacing of early Souls games, Dark Souls 3 incorporates faster animations and a more aggressive tempo influenced by Bloodborne itself. The weapons arts, well, the addition of unique weapon arts allows players to experiment with diverse playstyles and adding depth and variety. The game also features some of the most memorable and challenging bosses in the series itself, such as the Nameless King and the Soul of Cinder, which is my favorite. Each fight demands strategy, timing, and adaptability. Dark Souls 3 is celebrated for its subtle yet profound storytelling, like in all From Software games, as we all know. Eschewing the traditional narrative structures, the game weaves its lore through cryptic item descriptions, environmental clues, and sparse dialogue.
Name thyself, stranger. I am Yorshka, captain of the Dark Moon Knights. What beckoned thee to such a place? Thou thinkst too. Very well. Captain to this knightless company I remain. I will grant thee purpose. Thou'st journeyed far. Hear my voice. If thou shalt swear by the covenant to become a shadow of Father Gwyn and Sister Guinevere, a blade that shall hunt the foes of our lords, then I place thee under the aegis and the power of the Dark Moon. Thou art now a blade of the Dark Moon, the only knight of our company. Swear this oath and face thy solemn duty. Oh, good blade of the Dark Moon, welcome home. If I can provide thee succor, only tell me how.
This approach invites players to become detectives itself, piecing together the fragments of a world steeped in mystery and decay. Themes of cyclicality, existential despair, and the inevitability of endings preempt the narrative, creating a profound emotional impact. The Kingdom of Lothric serves as the stage for this final tale, a world on the brink of collapse. Players assume the role of the Ashen One, tasked with rekindling the first flame or allowing it to fade. This central choice reflects the series' broader themes and renewal versus entropy. The game's ending options, well, including the poignant usurpation of fire and the end of fire, provide a sense of agency while reinforcing the melancholic tone of the series. Few games, and I say this again, few games rival the environmental storytelling of Dark Souls 3, and even from all the From Software games. Lothric's interconnected locals, from the haunting catacombs of Carthus to the desolated kiln of the First Flame, exude a sense of history and decay. Each area is meticulously designed with visual and auditory cues that evoke emotions and hint at the world's forgotten past. One of the most striking aspects of Dark Souls 3 for me, it is ability to convey narrative through architecture and atmosphere. The Gothic spires of Lothric Castle loom over the horizon, symbolizing the kingdom's faded glory. The ash-covered ruins of the Ring City, introduced in the DLC, paint a vivid picture of a world consumed by the consequences of its cycles. These details immerse players, making them active participants in the story. The game's soundtrack, oh boy, even the main menu feels like a boss fight itself. Composed by Yuka Kitamura, enhances the immersion. Tracks like Abyss Watchers and The Soul of Cinder capture the grandeur and strategy of the game's key moments, leaving a lasting impressions on the players itself. The Gothic architecture, dynamic lighting, and apocalyptic vistas create a world that is simultaneously beautiful and oppressive. The artistic direction reinforces the narrative's themes, ensuring every visual detail serves a purpose. As the final installment of the Dark Souls series, Dark Souls 3 has left an indelible mark on the gaming industry. It refined and expanded upon the mechanics that defined its predecessors, influencing countless titles in the emerging Souls-like genre. Games such as Hollow Knight and of course Elden Ring himself owe their design philosophies to trial blazed by Dark Souls. Moreover, Dark Souls 3 has cultivated a passionate community. From lore discussions and cooperative gameplay to competitive PvP, the game's multiplayer systems continue to thrive years after its release. This enduring engagement highlights the depth and replayability that define the series itself. This is my conclusion and my final conclusion to this video. Dark Souls 3 is more than just a game. It is an experience that challenges players intellectually, emotionally, and mechanically. By merging pushing gameplay with intricate storytelling and atmospheric design, it transcends traditional RPG conventions. As a conclusion to the Dark Souls series, it honors its legacy while solidifying its place as one of the greatest games of all time. For those willing to brave its trials, Dark Souls 3 offers a journey of discovery, perseverance, and ultimately triumph.
The fire fades and awaits its one last thought. Prince Lothric is in your hands. Please save his soul.